Okay, in this video, I'm going to walk through installing and removing Cygwin packages. So, for example, if we wanted to install Git, those of you might be familiar with Git, it's a way to manage source code. And if I just type in Git, it says Git command not found. So how do we get that installed? Well, the most obvious way to do that with Cygwin is to run the installer through the GUI. And if you've followed along in previous videos, you'll know that I installed it, or that we installed it in the Cygwin installer directory right off of your home directory. So in my case, C users John Cygwin installer. And from here, let's double click setup to get Git installed. And so here I'm just going to accept the defaults, which is basically based on when you first installed it. And I'll just accept what we had previous. And I'm going to select which packages to view. I'm going to view the not installed, and I'm going to search for Git. And you'll notice here it's filtered now, and I can see that here's the Git package that I want. And I'm going to select, instead of skipping it, I'm going to select version 228. And then down here, I'll click next. And it says review and confirm. I'll confirm that with next. And you can see that it's doing its thing to install it. And I'll just click finish. And if I go back to the terminal, and if I hit the up arrow, that brings back Git, and I hit enter, you can see now that we got a bunch of output, right? Gives us the usage and a description of things that you can do. So that shows you that Git's installed. If I do git -- version, you'll see there's the version that I wanted to install. Now, similarly, if you wanted to remove Git, all you do is launch the setup executable again and accept these defaults. And when I go to view, I'm going to select what was picked, right? So here's some packages that I have installed, and I'm going to deselect. I'm going to uninstall Git, and I guess I was testing this earlier. I'm also going to uninstall wget as well. But in your case, you might only have Git, or you might have others if you've installed others. And we'll click next, and I'm going to remove those. And click finish. So now if I try to run git version, right, it says user bin git, no such file or directory. I type in which git, it's no longer, right, no git in, and all the different paths, all the different directories on the path variable. So that's how you typically would install and uninstall packages. If you're going to be using Cygwin a little bit more than, once in a while, and you want to install and remove packages relatively frequently, you might want to streamline that process. And one way to do that is through using this setup executable through the command line. So let's change directory, or let's try using the setup through the command line. But what we're going to have to do is, because this setup, if I try to run setup, what is that? X 8664.exe, right? That command not found. Well, why is that? Because it's not on the path. And so we'll worry about that in a moment, but let's cd to this location within Cygwin. And the way you do that is cd/cygdrive, and then C, so that's like drive local disk C here, right? So that C : is replaced with cygdrive, and then /C, and then users, John, Cygwin installer. From here, we can reference the executable directly by doing this. We // setup x86_64.exe. And if I hit enter, that will launch the GUI. But we don't really want to use the GUI quite like this. We want to cancel that. And we want to find out, okay, what are the options here? If I do a -h, that'll tell us the options for this. And so if you notice here, -p, -- packages, specify the package or specify packages to install. So if I do this and I do -P, so in this case we can do the capital P, or the long form of it would be -- packages. And then say we want to specify git. Okay, so we hit enter and it brings up the GUI. And notice that we have to click next again, next, right? Accepting all these defaults. Those defaults are already there selected, but we just have to confirm them, right? So, and here's the package that it's selected. So that's what we would like to do, but let's see if we can make that a little more streamlined. Let's cancel that. And if you notice here, it says quiet mode, unattended setup mode. So let's try that. We specify the packages with git, and then if we type in -Q, or sorry, -Q for quiet mode, and we hit enter, we get this prompt to confirm, but watch what happens. It skipped all those confirmations that we had to do at the beginning and just simply goes ahead and installs the program. And that's complete. And then when we do a which on git, there it is. Now, so that's a lot more convenient, right? Just one command and it goes and installs git with no questions asked. Now, if we want to remove a package, see how we got here, -X, specify packages to uninstall. So we can do, let's change that to -X, git, and then we'll keep it in quiet mode, and we run that. And we get that question, but we go next, and right away, now Cygwin is uninstalling the git package. So when it's done, go back to which git, and you'll notice here it says no git installed. So now it mentions that you can specify packages, and how do you do that? Like plural. How many can we install here? Well, you can install multiple packages by specifying them separated by a comma. So if I want to install wget as well, I would just do git, wget, and then go through the install here. So right now it's installing git. Now wget. And it's just finishing up here. And so now if we do which wget, right, that's installed. We could do wget, I don't know, reddit.com, right? So it goes out and downloads, in this case, wget's a command line HTTP client. And if we, for some reason, wanted to use that, we can then view, there's the actual contents of the index.html. I'll remove that now. And with git, there's user bin git -- version, right? So both are installed. If we want to remove multiple packages, we just change from a -p to -x. Right, and it'll go through and remove them all, or the ones that are specified there. now that that's finished, if we do which get, no, right, there's no get, and we do a wget, and there's no wget. So that is arguably a much better process to install and remove packages within Cygwin, but it's still a little bit cumbersome. For instance, we had to cd to this location, which you may or may not remember how to do that. And then here, when you get to this location, it's like, okay, how do I run the setup executable again? And what parameters can I send it to do what I want? And that gets a little bit time consuming and cumbersome as well. So what I want to walk through is creating a bash script to make that process even smoother and easier to remember. And it'll be a good example of just writing a bash script.